We're already recording, baby.
Bitch, got
I don't want to
me
yell. I don't want to yell
paying
too
the
loud
rent,
because, like,
paying for chips.
you know,
Right, let's see.
for courtesy of the neighbors.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
Welcome to Benched, everybody.
Hi, welcome back.
We are out on a beautiful day.
It is very nice.
I was a little worried. I told you that before, but past few days it has been pouring. I think they called the storm like nor'eastern or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was just this big like storm that moved through like the top of Florida and like Georgia and shit. And it has been pouring and cold.
Yeah, it
And
made it
there's
a little
no way
worrisome.
around it.
Made us a little worrisome for today, but
Exactly.
it's really nice out right now, actually.
Yeah. Pretty pleasant day. What's been going on with you over the weekend?
Well, I have a little bit of a maybe incriminating. I don't know. A story.
Just we'll keep names out and like maybe particular
Adrian.
Oh, okay.
No, you can
Gotcha.
bleep the last name.
Yeah, we'll bleep out that last part.
But
Shouts out to Adrian.
yeah, my boy Adrian. So it was a group of friends. We were all gonna meet up at this one person's house,
Okay.
and that one person wasn't actually home. But so me and my ride basically arrived first. We knew they weren't home, so we were just chilling there. Adrian pulls up. He sees our car, the car that we're in, and he sees actually the person's car whose home that is. So he assumes that we're all there. It's late at night. It's dark, so he doesn't see us in the car, and we like lean back to make sure he doesn't see us, just to like, because it's cold and stuff. We were just like, oh, let's make it funny. So he has to walk up to the door, wait in the cold for a bit, and then he'll walk back. He never walked back. He went inside. It wasn't locked. He walked inside.
Just walk straight in.
There was someone there, and let's just say an authority figure of sorts, who was upstairs sleeping. Adrian, he's walking around the house thinking like we're just messing with him because all the cars are there. Door was unlocked. I'd assume in his situation, I'd assume the same thing. Like, so
Oh no.
he's going through all the doors, all the open doors. He luckily did not go into the room with
Oh my
the
God.
person sleeping. He doesn't find anyone, of course. He's like in the middle. He says he's in the middle of the living room. He goes, Marco.
Oh no, bro.
Yeah. So, like, I'm sort of like messing with him, like texting him like, "Hey, yo, where are you? Like, we're already here. Where are you at?" We don't get the clearest view of the front door where we're parked, and so we don't realize he's inside. We just think he's waiting outside the door, and then he sends a text saying, "I'm not coming back outside," and then we're like, "Wait, what?" So we walk to the door, and he's just like, "You're lying. No one was actually here." This is when the realization sets in that he just broke and entered.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
That was all
so
yesterday
much.
or last night.
That is so much.
I don't know if it's in frame or right outside of frame, but you're looking right at a sign that says private property, residents, and guests only.
This may or may not
Yeah.
be legal. Or just,
Yeah.
I'm not
I
going
mean,
to incriminate us. I'm
yeah.
just going to say there's
At the very least, we can be
possi-
respectful to the people that actually live here.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's our best bet if we want to stay. We just have to like be
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that,
I didn't realize with the
like,
right
we could see it, but we'll be like,
Yeah.
we just wanted to record a little video. We thought it looked nice here. Because most likely that's for like, like grandparents who don't want like random kids coming here to skateboard or some shit.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah, we're not
Because
skateboarding.
for some
we're just-
reason, that's like the worst thing in the world. I feel like to old
Oh
people.
yeah, yeah.
It's just like
That's where their
the
priorities
skateboarders
lie
and
at
the
this-
rap
that
music.
age. Yeah, yeah.
Like they always be on like some weird like picky shit.
Yeah.
but
The overlap of rap music and skateboarding.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You'd
it's
actually-
basically just a circle to them, like on a Venn diagram.
It's all the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that like punk rock and all the stuff that isn't just like old, like country or like jazz or some shit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
If it's not any like classical type music.
If it's not something that they listen to, it's foreign and bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
detriment to society.
That goes for a lot of their opinions.
Travis Scott's concert, the devil was in the crowd that night.
That's a segue.
That was a segue.
Wow. Yeah.
So over the weekend we saw the annual Astro World Festival, and as per usual, it was packed.
Yeah.
So obviously want to acknowledge that Camaro has passed us twice now. We want to acknowledge that
We have acknowledged it.
the Astro World Festival, like, I just want to go ahead and like give our thoughts to like all the families and shit.
Yeah.
Because that is honestly why I'm so terrified of festivals and concerts in general.
Yeah.
It's a scary environment when you're just kind of in like a big crowd like that and you really can't control what's happening.
Yeah.
And
Videos I've seen of the festival, like, it kind of it like takes my breath away, because I feel like I'm in that crowd and I can only imagine actually being there, and how much suffering that.
it's just
Yeah.
it's a bunch of teenagers going there to have fun, and for you to have 8 people, not be able to walk out of there,
Yeah.
and for you to have 300 people go home with some sort of injury.
Yeah.
I think another 8 or so were hospitalized after the fact. It's one of those things where, like, not only have you paid half a fortune just to get there, probably, for tickets and stuff, but, like, then you get there and it's a dangerous environment.
Yeah.
Not only does the company involved, Live Nation, doesn't really care about your health or safety. There was a poor design just in terms of, like, barricading off people. It was just a sea of people.
Yeah.
It's like an ocean, and when you have that kind of environment, you just have to move with it. And if you don't, that's when people start to get crushed. That's when people start to fall. That's when people start to get trampled. And that's what's scary. I think there's construction nearby.
That's great.
But it's just, like we said, it's a scary situation. And I think it was just really irresponsibly handled. Yeah. I think that this is a very cold take, I don't think that Travis Scott is all to blame. Obviously, I think that the city of Houston, the Houston Police Department, I think Live Nation, all the different levels of people that had to give this the okay for it to just then...
He's getting a little distracted. There's people laughing and walking through.
For all of those people to give it the okay, they are also partially very responsible for what happened.
Yeah.
But at the same time, people want to defend Travis and act like he has no involvement. And I feel like that's just ignorant, because as a performer, you are one of the people who are the most involved and being able to see what's going on. If you see that there are people falling or that there's issues in the crowd, you can stop the show. If you stop performing, that whole show is done.
There have been countless, like, punk or rock concerts that I've seen where, like, mosh pits and stuff, if it gets a little rowdy and they notice someone or something's a little out of line, they'll stop it entirely, get that situation handled, and then carry on.
It's, there's... If you are the artist performing and you stop performing, there is no show. So if you realize that, then you know that you have the power to stop the show if it gets too dangerous.
Yeah.
Travis Scott knows that.
Yeah.
And I think that he just still... I made the analogy that he's, like, trying to play the cool aunt. And you got to hear me out on this. It's like, I think he kind of plays it where he's like, you know, fuck the security. I'll let a few of y'all sneak in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
if y'all can get in without a ticket, do it. You know, just he tries to pack these shows and act like he's the cool guy that's like anti-authority. And I get it to some extent. You know, it's fun. It's cool when there's like a small crowd.
Mhm.
But they've done this festival at the same venue for years, and it's only gotten more and more popular with more and more people coming.
Yeah.
And, you know, that cool aunt shit doesn't rest well when you have that much responsibility with that many people.
Yeah.
Now, I will also say people have kind of noticed the satanic panic, as they called it, where as soon as something like that goes wrong, they start saying, like, oh, the devil was in the crowd that night. Oh, this is the devil's work.
Yeah.
And for me, at least, I feel like this is part of kind of like a weird culture of, or not even culture, but like a weird conversation of trying to like demonize rap music. Because this is something that
That's been
has
around.
happened before.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget who talked about it, but there was like a Woodstock forever ago, and it was like some rock band, like it was probably like Smash Mouth or something, or I think it was, because it was like a funny band that nobody cared about.
Okay.
I might be completely wrong on that, so worst case, I'll, you know, put some text over to correct myself, but there was a rock band playing at Woodstock, and there were people waiting out for hours, and people were starting to like drop from heat exhaustion and shit.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you're talking
And
about.
that didn't get as much attention as I think this Travis Scott thing is, or at least the same amount of criticism in terms of like spiritual type weird conspiracies. I feel like it was just on the hands of like irresponsibility from a company that does not care about its guests, an artist who only cares about being popular and trying to be entertaining.
Yeah.
And doesn't necessarily shown that he doesn't really care or feel responsible for what happened.
Yeah. Prioritizing the safety of his fans.
But I feel like trying to claim that, oh, it's a satanic ritual. I feel like it's just this weird conversation that has been around where people try to like demonize any type of not only new genres of music, but specifically rap music. And that's why I just think that's so corny and dumb. Just
What
to
a
be
bunch
blunt,
of cornballs.
it's just so I know I use corny like in the wrong term, but I feel like it's the same way that I find like people like on like news organizations who get like heated over like dumb shit, like pop culture shit. Like I find that corny.
A war
You know what I'm saying?
on everything.
War on everything, like fear mongering and shit, or just like Ben Shapiro talking about like anything Marvel related.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that Bucky should have done it. I think he should have been Captain America because it was set up the right way, and he couldn't really find an explanation. He was trying to say it's because he's white. But it is corny to me. It's like you're arguing over the dumbest shit, and you're acting so personally offended. But before I go on a side rant, that was really just our thoughts on the Travis Scott thing. Again, thoughts go out to the families, to those kids who got hurt.
Yeah.
You
Did you see the video of like there was like an ambulance or something coming through and like people were jumping
on top of it? Also, fuck those people. I don't care if you're having a good time. If you see
and
like service vehicles coming
I've seen
through,
like their Instagram posts after the fact of like, oh, y'all mad, I'm just having fun. Like
it's like,
dude.
yeah, but motherfuckers are dead.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Y'all are trying to turn up to the music and shit, but people were dead in the ambulance, or like people were dying, and they were trying to get to those people.
Yeah.
I
You made it
fucking hate
infinitely harder for other people just because like you wanted to like have the attention.
And if it was that same dude in that same situation where he's the one needing help.
Yeah.
You hear that? I wonder if it's an alligator.
That'd be funny.
I would totally get that on video.
If this is
Nice ducks.
damn. It'd just be ducks.
It'd just be ducks.
It'd just be ducks. All right.
It is what it is.
Sorry, we got excited. We thought we were gonna catch
Hi
something.
there. Over the weekend, I didn't really do much. Just a lot of working. I did see the UFC fights.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Usman
Usman versus
versus
Covington 2.
Mega Boy.
Mega boy.
I did not watch the fight. Disappointed, but you know.
I will say, for the most part, even like the early prelims were solid. The
Okay.
prelims were good, and those main events were pretty good too. I will say the women's main event just like felt super long, because it just like felt like there wasn't
What
much
do you mean by
happening.
that? No, I'm kidding.
No, not that. I like women's fighting. Um, I'm just saying like it was a 5-rounder, and I felt like there was just like not a lot going on in those 5 rounds.
Okay.
There were times where it got close, but like out of 2 of those rounds, it felt like it was just like a lot of like resting and like kind of just walking around and shit.
Feeling it out. Feeling it out.
Yeah. But to be fair, maybe it was the same way with the other main event, and I just didn't notice because I was heated. I fell for the bullshit so bad because I don't watch UFC regularly. I'm very casual. And just from like the stuff I had seen online, I was like, yeah, I really hope Covington gets his ass kicked.
Oh, you
like,
bought into that.
I bought into the bull because here's the thing: he is a good fighter.
You've already called out how like, while it's an extension of people's actual personalities, they ham it up for the sales and for the fight hype.
It's almost WWE like.
Yeah.
In the sense that like they know that that's how they draw money is by making a name.
I found it funny how you
Then
called
I
it
fall
out and
for
then
it.
you
Yeah.
fall for it.
Because I even talk about McGregor where like I'm like, yeah, he's definitely an asshole, but I feel like he's hamming it up to some extent.
Yeah.
For money, for draws, because he hasn't won many fights, but he still puts asses in seats, and there's a reason. It's because he's a personality.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why CM Punk drew after his first fight when he got his ass kicked.
Yes.
You know, it's like it's one of those things where like he's still a big name.
Yeah. He didn't build it off his fighting ability.
Yeah. It was because of the pro wrestling and then because of the, all that. But I fell for it. So I'm sitting there the whole time and I'm like, Usman kick his ass. Usman kick his ass.
Yeah.
And Covington was holding his own. I don't necessarily like Covington or agree with what he believes in, but like that's the problem is I was sitting there thinking about like politics in the middle of a fight.
that is a very
And
big problem.
To be fair, like Covington is a solid
Keep
dude.
your
and
politics out of sports.
After
and then proceeds to make it his whole personality.
exactly. No, but I got hot during that fight, and I was intrigued the whole time. It went to decision. It's not what I hoped for, but it's what I thought was going to happen. And Usman won again.
Yeah.
They kind of had like a little exchange of heated words during the fight, but like after the fight, they kind of gave like
Showed
a nice
respect.
Yeah, they showed respect. They were like, that was solid, good shit. And we like to see that,
I don't think there will be a third because he doesn't deserve it. If if
Yeah.
you want a trilogy, it should only be because it's split.
Yeah.
And-
Like I would say like if they announce like a Conor and Poirier fight again, I could understand it because the last fight
Yeah,
kind of ended under a weird circumstance.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about this one prelim fight that did happen.
Okay.
It was the first prelim after the early prelims. I forget the names of the people that were fighting. I think it was Gaethje and this other guy. Because again, I'm a casual fan. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but this other dude. So Gaethje, I guess, is known for being just just destructive. Like, man is crazy. They both kind of went into it. They're like, we're entertainers. We're gonna put on a good ass fight.
Okay.
Which again sounds very wrestling like, but that's the way they built this. They were like, this is gonna be a solid first fight, and boy was it, because Gaethje was throwing crazy hands and crazy strikes, and every single time you thought, okay, this other dude's gonna get knocked out. I gotta figure out what that dude's name is because I feel disrespectful as hell.
Yeah.
But that dude was tanking.
Yeah, because he's gonna see this.
Nah, it's not even like that. It's just like
Yeah, he's a fighter and he put his ass out there.
they
For
were
entertainment.
eating these shots. I mean, it was so many times where I'm like, that is a knockout shot, and bro just ate that shit.
Yeah.
Looked at him dead and was like,
Chins
nah.
of steel. Yeah.
Yeah, it was crazy. It had me on the edge of my seat that whole fight.
Damn, that's funny.
It was solid. But yeah, the UFC fight this weekend was pretty good. I have a feeling that it's setting up for something because that fight, Gaethje ended up winning, I think, by decision. And he was the number 2 rank for, I think it's the light heavyweight division. But it's the one where, Poirier, Conor, all them are fighting at.
Okay.
I think the champion, I think his name is like Oliveira or something like that. I might have butchered that too. But Poirier, after his fight with Conor, he's set up to fight the champion at the next UFC pay-per-view. And this set up Gaethje to then fight whoever wins that.
Okay.
Because he was already number 2. The guy he fought was like number 5 in the division. But it was a solid showing, and it got me excited. Like I said, I really want to get into UFC and MMA because as a wrestling fan, I'm starting to appreciate like the little bit of personality and like that kind of focus on it because it is entertaining. But I think I enjoy the actual in-ring work better because it's real. It's like an actual fight. I think I can actually respect the technical aspects. Like, people talk about that in wrestling. Like, oh, he's great technically. But it's like, for a fake fight, It's a performance.
Yeah.
It can still be entertaining, but when you watch it, you're like, I know this is fake.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I want to get into UFC so bad. It's just like, I feel like I'm so late to it. But I feel like you can't really, like, stop yourself from watching it because you're late to something. Because if that were the case, then nobody could watch wrestling after the 50 years that it's been on TV.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was an entertaining weekend on that front, and that's basically the highlight of what I had to do. Other than that, I was just working and all that kind of shit.
So you watched the fight, and I'm an accessory to a crime.
Yeah. So very different weekends, as you can see.
Yeah, for sure. I did notice something about, I checked the analytics for, our TikTok.
Yes.
And I noticed we have a 90-10 split for male to female followers.
Is it 90 for male?
Yeah.
Okay. We got the bros in the chat, and let me see.
And you know what that means? Say it with me. We have bad opinions.
Yes. So clearly our views are bad. We're going to completely switch up the... That's actually awful. Oh, my God.
That's a lot more drastic than I thought.
Yeah.
But...
Man, we're doing something wrong. Nah, that's funny.
Yeah.
No, I get excited with the TikTok. I like that people are enjoying the TikTok content.
Yeah.
I do hope that we can start getting more focused on the YouTube aspect as well.
Yeah.
So I will briefly mention, I think we're going to put a temporary pause on SoundCloud and other streaming services.
Yeah.
Just because we at least want to make sure that it's worth putting those extra resources into.
Yeah.
And we're not getting like the same traction that we do
monetarily.
Even on YouTube.
We want to be able to break even.
Yeah, definitely.
We won't be doing that at the rate we're at.
But yeah, nothing crazy. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Be sure to check us out on YouTube and the TikTok. And we have a few episodes out on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music.
Yeah. For the moment.
For the moment. So I don't know if we've actually addressed this. We live right next to an airport.
Yeah.
So there's so much plane noise like all the time.
Yeah.
I'm typically able to get it out for the most part on in the audio software. But it's just, it's so funny because like I feel like every episode there's like twice where we're like, and then
yeah. Airplanes or helicopters, like both are pretty frequent for some reason.
Right next to an airport. And then even if that airport isn't enough, we're like, I think like an hour away from like a military base. So it's like a little mix of both.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
A lot of things overhead, but, I don't know. Great
Never
time to
peace
have a
and quiet
podcast.
in Florida.
Yeah. Never. But, do you know about the Henry Ruggs thing? Do you know who that is?
Is this the guy who was speeding?
Yeah, so he was a football player.
Yes. I had heard about this, but I'm going to let you take the lead.
He was he was like 2 times like
The alcohol limit?
the alcohol limit, and like he was going stupid fast. Like it's
Incredibly. Yeah, I had seen the
camera
camera footage.
Camera footage of him like a block before like the accident. God. We should have just kept all this sad shit together. Just
Yeah,
Travis Scott,
it is a sad story, just
Yeah.
because like I feel bad in the terms of like I feel like when people kind of get big off of something, they kind of lose this sense of like responsibility. And that's sad to see like somebody lose themselves like that. But I feel even worse for the family, obviously.
Yeah.
The family of the people who were, injured or not just injured,
Yeah.
those who are hurt.
Yeah. It's fully on him for getting behind the wheel drunk.
Mhm.
There were obvious outlets that he could have taken. Like he could have easily called the team. Like they'll send a car to him.
Yeah.
There were
Somebody could have called an Uber.
Yeah. Someone would be alive today if it wasn't for his choices.
I think it
And-
was 2 people. I think it was a mother and her child or something like that. I might be
doesn't
wrong,
make it
but I
any
think
better,
that
but
was
yeah.
the case. But just feeding off of that point, like
Yeah.
that, I don't want to take any blame off of him. I was saying it's like a tragic situation.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where like you are responsible, you have resources.
Yeah.
And
he was cut from the team.
There's probably because he's gonna go to prison or some shit.
Yeah.
They can't have him playing from jail.
You know, it's funny. There was an NBA player that was arrested and he played with an ankle monitor on.
That's actually so funny.
Yeah.
Like I hate that I just laughed at for what we just talked about, but like the idea of some dude like playing and it's honest.
Yeah. He played for the Lakers. He couldn't play away games, I believe.
Okay.
Until
he can only
like,
play home game.
Until that thing was off. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Do you think that he had to like get that in court where he's like, hey,
Yeah.
I know it's
still
house
have
arrest, but
responsibilities.
like I know it's house arrest, but like what if I went to play a game? You could watch me on TV too, like everything. Like
Yeah, you could tune in.
I'll be there. Like
ESPN.
you could visually see me there.
Yeah.
So like if the tracker sees me go to this arena,
Yeah.
y'all don't have to be like, oh, where the fuck is he going?
Yeah.
That's so funny because he had to have talked about that in court. Like,
Yeah. There
if
was
you have
some
an ankle
dispute.
monitor, like they have to tell you specifically where to be.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But I don't. Something tells me that Henry Ruggs is not gonna get the same.
Oh, absolutely
freedoms
not. No.
For obvious reasons, but
It's so sad to see, and like I said, like the Travis thing. Thoughts go out to the family.
yeah,
'cause-
drunk driving is never should never be an option,
Yeah.
and that's why we have so many like driving rideshare companies
Yeah.
for that reason.
With the rideshare companies, it's so much more accessible too.
Yeah,
It's not like, oh, I have to call a cab and hope that somebody, gets it.
Mhm.
It's not like, oh, I have to call a family member, but I might not have any family around me to come get me.
yeah,
Somebody, you could have family in a completely other state and they could call you an Uber. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they can go on the app and have you have an Uber delivered.
yeah. Or to repeat, call the team. They will send
Yeah.
someone.
This isn't the average everyday person. Like the
Yeah.
Uber thing is talking about like anybody else.
Yeah,
But like you are a professional
Yeah.
athlete with a team of people who are trying to make sure that you get home
Yeah.
safe because you're an asset to them.
exactly.
And when you do shit like this, they lost a teammate. They got to deal with this too. It's not on the same level, obviously.
Mhm.
It's not the same extent of a loss, but it does put some responsibility on them because they know, like, hey, we have the resources that could have helped fix this, and now we look bad too. And you could have easily just hit us up, and we would have done something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those things. It's just a shitty situation.
There's been a lot of I know you're not a sports fan, even though that feels like all we've talked about so far.
I know you're not
Really?
a sports fan, but we talked about sports the entire segment other than the Travis
Basically.
Scott thing.
Yeah, but I realized a bit ago that there's just been a lot of like shitty things going on in the sports world, like I have something else. Like,
Okay.
so owner of the Phoenix Suns, Robert Sarver,
Mm-hmm.
like, so there was an ESPN article that came out about him, and it's just 17. Wow.
Yeah, that was gonna go. Sorry.
Yeah. It was just 17 years worth of like allegations from people that work for the Phoenix Suns of just like misogyny and racism and like,
Yeah, I think I had heard about it briefly.
yeah. And it's funny, like one of the most well-known players that have played for the Phoenix Suns, Steve Nash, who is still prevalent around the NBA. He's coaching a team right now. He was asked about if he had any experiences with that, and he said no. And then you sort of think about it, it's like, you're white though. It is a little different for you. It is a little different for you versus like, everyone else.
No, I never seen it.
Yeah. Well, I wonder
Probably
why.
not. Yeah, I'm sure you didn't realize.
I mean, among other things, a lot of players he wanted to keep a good face for because they're the one talking to the media. He's not trying to get the bad rep from them. Like, people like really under him experienced it and didn't really share their moments with him until this article came along. And there's just piles upon piles and upon piles of just like shit he said. And like a former coach was like, or so we walked into like the locker room one time and
right there. He's definitely gonna look at the phone. No, he's not. Never mind.
Huh?
I was like, he's definitely gonna look at the phone, but he didn't. It's okay.
All right, we're good. But
But yeah, it's just like this countless accusations.
yeah. So there was one anecdote where I don't know if I use that word right.
I think it's like a personal story.
Yeah.
Anecdote.
So he walked into the locker room to discuss with some like coaching staff. He was referring to a player for an opposing team. Like, why does that guy get to say the N word and I don't? It's just, yeah. It's like,
That's it. That's it.
That was like the start of the article, just to give you an idea of what
Yep.
he has to say. And like, the coach at the time was black, and he was, you can't say that. And then he was like, why?
And you said this guy's the owner of the Suns?
Yeah. And
Gotcha.
there was a situation about 8-ish years ago with the Clippers, Los Angeles Clippers, where their owner was found on a recording saying some vile things to this lady. And like the whole league was standing against him, just like, get him out of here. Poor guy had to sell this team for $1 billion or so. Poor guy.
What a shame. What a poor guy.
Yeah. And this is probably,
How terrible for him.
yeah, if the reputation gets bad enough for the league, the commissioner is likely to do the same to them, to Robert Sarver. And boo-hoo. Like,
Yeah.
you know? So, moral of the story, eat the rich.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
I
it's
hate
not
that.
like he committed a crime, but
It's just one of those things where
just
you
one of
have the
those things,
privilege to be an asshole because you have money.
yeah.
And it's just,
No, you're not gonna own a team anymore, but enjoy like making money off of it.
Yeah, you make your money back and put it into other investments. You're basically
Yeah.
in the exact same place that you were before.
Yeah, and you can still say all these things because nothing's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, you basically got a slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
And
What a life that is.
yep, like you said, eat the rich. But anyways,
Yeah. Anyway.
on to brighter topics.
Yeah.
So Bruno Mars got toxic.
Yes.
I'll probably take like less than 5 minutes just to talk about this, but
That bitch.
that bitch got me paying her rent, paying for trips, diamonds on her neck, diamonds on my wrist, and here I am all alone.
Smoking out the window.
It's so exciting. I'm so excited for this Silk Sonic album.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that the one thing that I mentioned to you in the car was that I do think that I'm a little bit underwhelmed because of the fact that they've released almost half of the album already.
Yeah. Supposed to be 9 tracks. We have 4.
And here's the thing. Leave the Door Open got a lot of traction.
Yeah.
Skate got a pretty good amount of traction. Smoking Out the Window has gotten a lot of traction. 10 million views in the first day, I believe. Silk Sonic Intro could have stayed as an album thing. They shouldn't have released that. Because they could have released 3 solid singles, and then there's 6 new songs. And I love the Silk Sonic Intro, don't get me wrong. I just think that, like, now because I've heard it before, when I turn on that album for the first time, I'm probably going to skip that and leave the door open. Because I'm going to try to listen to the new songs. Like, anytime I listen to something new, I skip the singles I've heard before, and then I listen to all the new stuff. And then I go back and listen through it as, like, a whole thing.
If I like listening to it all the way through, no skips, because, like, give me something to wait for. You know?
Yeah. But
tease me.
Yeah, he likes to be
yeah.
Says, I like a little tease first.
Yeah. Make me wait.
God damn. This is why I hate you.
Don't
Bruno, daddy. Tease me.
Toxic Bruno, make me wait for it.
Oh man, this motherfucker acting like The Weeknd out of nowhere. I catch a grenade for ya. And now he's like, this bitch. Like, he completely screwed up.
Toxic Daddy Bruno.
Toxic Daddy Bruno is, I'm here for it though.
Yeah.
I thought the song was funny, but it was still so musically just like amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like this kind of has like Anderson's charisma that really like brought this together, I feel like. Because like I said, I don't think this is something Bruno would have dropped as like such an industry guy. Because this isn't something that would have done well, at least to the extent of his other music, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I feel like because Anderson and him have this like playful energy, it works because they know they're kind of just goofing off.
Yeah. Up until this point, he's been very
hit-centric, yeah.
Hit-centric, yeah.
But I think I'm still excited for it. I just wish that if they left the intro and you turn that on for the first time, that intro still bangs. I just feel like it would have more weight to it when you're listening it the whole album through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you did say you're doing, how are y'all doing, right? I have so much social anxiety.
Yeah, I realized that. You just be speaking, man.
I thought he said how y'all doing, and I was like, oh, doing good. How about you?
How are you doing?
Now you can walk.
You too. I feel like you do that.
Anyways.
Yeah.
All right, so
That's staying in.
yes. Just, I'll leave a little bit of that. Hey, man, I have so much social anxiety.
Did I do good? Did I do good? Yeah. He bought that, right?
No, I literally feel that way anytime I talk to anybody, which is worse because I'm in like I work in guest services basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like I work.
Yeah, the whole point of your job is to recommend
talk to
and
people.
give people, yeah.
And that is the worst part about my job. I hate talking to people.
Yeah.
I am the role model Gen Z that does not have social skills at all.
Money's good though.
Yeah.
For sure.
The bag's all right. Just starts getting like real like not humble, like super braggy and shit about my almost minimum wage job now.
Yeah, he's not even like out there. It's just sort of like
it's
above average.
It's gonna be minimum wage in a few years because of Florida.
Not mad at it.
Not mad at that at all.
Yeah.
I know there's like people with their squatted trucks and shit that are sitting there like, this is gonna ruin the economy.
Yeah.
Fuck. And they have no reason to be worried.
Yeah. Whoa, something's flying above here. It's up there now. You're not even looking where I'm pointing.
I'm not.
Okay.
Where the fuck it went? Was it big?
Because it's that.
Was it big?
It's that.
Oh, it looks like a dandelion, bro. You had me thinking that shit was like a big ass bug.
Literally, I just said it was something. You made that decision. That's not me at all.
We said, oh, there's some shit flying above you. Like, that makes me think like, oh, there's something gonna kill me. There's gonna be some bee that I didn't know I was allergic to or some shit. That freaks me out so bad. Like I don't like bugs, bro.
I know how I'm gonna get you.
Oh man. One of these days he's gonna be like benched Fear Factor edition.
Yeah.
And he just brings out like a tub of like flying spiders. I don't
Because
know.
I have that on hand.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna find some way.
Yeah.
You can order it on Amazon.
Flying
You just have to have a
spiders.
VPN. You get it imported on like Amazon from the dark web. What if? Imagine
Amazon
if like
dark.
Bezos has like a dark web Amazon. And
Yeah.
it's like where you could buy like nuclear
fucking
warheads.
kidneys. Just
That's so funny, bro.
I wouldn't put it past him. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly.
Damn.
I feel like if there's a dark web that people know about on a consumer level, I feel like there has to be like another layer. Like there's got to be like something where like there's another layer of internet that nobody fucking knows about. Like there's got to be like a dark web, and then there's like the 1% type shit where like only they have this
wow.
network. That's some conspiracy shit that I'm thinking of, but like
Yeah, Epstein.
even with the dark web, there's still got to be some level of like traceability on it. I feel like there's got to be just like another layer where like nobody knows about this
It
shit.
goes even deeper.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If it's still part of the dark web, it's like you have to like figure out how the fuck to get there still.
I don't even like know how to imagine the dark web sometimes because like I feel like it's just every website, every conceivable website. It's just that, but like with guns. I don't know.
Yeah. I have the ability to get onto it. I just don't know how to
you
use
tell
it, and
on
I'm
camera.
terrified.
On camera.
No, somebody in my life is in cybersecurity.
Do you like tape like your webcam?
I don't actually have a webcam. My computer, I typically use my actual like Canon DSLR as a webcam because during the pandemic when I actually needed a webcam, there was a shortage because everybody was at home doing work. So when everybody has to do Zoom calls, everybody's like, oh shit, I gotta go get a webcam.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to use my resources. I downloaded some free software from Canon, and now I just have a crispy ass webcam.
Nice.
But that also means that I tend to not have it set up all the time. I only pull it out when I like need it for exams or something. Which actually, that was another thing. I don't know how I passed my exam because my webcam died in the middle of it. And that should have triggered like the proctor to be like, yo, what's happening here? What's going on?
System down.
And
System down.
No, nothing happened. So,
You got lucky there.
I guess so. But
You ever
No,
hear like,
I-
those like horror stories of like dark web interactions where like
yeah,
people
that
send
always
you your
freaks
IP
me out.
and stuff and like
That
and
person
then
stared at us crazy.
a little bit. Like
No.
people will be looking at you through your camera and just
That
like,
freaks
say
me out
hi.
so bad.
like they'll
hate
point
that.
out something in your background of your room.
Yeah.
You're just like
No, that freaks me out.
yeah.
And then they'll be like, yeah, so how's it like living at address?
Yeah. Frankly, I want to believe it, but like
It's really, he also showed me how to figure out people's addresses. Like, that's apparently, like, super easy. That's not something you have to be crazy about. Like, I guess you could literally just look up, like, if you figure out somebody's, like, IP address, you could figure out where they live.
I've had my address like it was like an fucking like 10-year-old. Like I was on
Oh my
Omegle just
God.
one day, just like
And somebody was like,
Fucking
hey,
around,
what's it
he's
like
like-
living here?
they looked at me and I was like, hey. And then I look at him typing and I'm like, I know where this is going. And then it went where it went. I
Yep.
was like, cool.
That's why that shit scares me.
Next.
But I have a little flash drive where, like, if I had decided to go on the dark web, I have the ability to. I'm just terrified to do it and fuck it up.
Yeah, I'd be terrified of what you could potentially find if it's anywhere scary.
Yeah, because I'm also worried that, like, if I mess it up and then somebody's able to, like, track me through my computer or some shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if maybe I have to have, like, a VPN that I don't know how to use. I just have, like, a flash drive of files that was given to me. And I just have it locked away somewhere. Like, I don't even want to fuck with it. Like, it scares me. But I think this is a safe time to segue into Marvel.
Oh.
The dangers of the dark web, and now we're going into the dangers of the dark void that is space. And existentialism.
Bro, they're just movies.
Where do we go when we die? Anyways, no, I'm playing. So we have some Eternals reviews. We both went and saw it over the weekend.
Yeah.
I really didn't think it was gonna be that packed. It was pretty packed.
Yeah, it was more packed than when I went to see Shang-Chi.
Yeah, that was empty when I
found
went.
that interesting.
So, what were your thoughts?
Let me just start off by saying it's nowhere near as bad as the reviews say. At least in my opinion. I recognize how polarizing it is, how divisive it can be. I see a lot of the criticisms that frankly didn't bother me as much. I think that the characters were developed well for the most part. The cinematography, which was like it was as advertised in my opinion. Like it was very pretty to look at.
Yeah.
I mean the the Eternals were also pretty to look at. Gilgamesh.
Oh man.
Yeah, but like I thought a lot of their interactions were handled well. It was very exposition heavy, which I feel was necessary for an introductory origin movie for characters we've never seen before this late in the game that have always been around. I mean, let's be honest, it'd be a tough task for anyone to handle. And I think it was handled as best as humanly possible.
Yeah.
I can't say I bought into like the romance between Cersei and Icarus.
Yeah.
I thought the relationships between Gilgamesh and Dina and Makari and Druig were a lot better. Or even Cersei and Dane.
Yeah.
Which I guess is sort of the point for Cersei because like she ends up with Dane and you kind of want that. Like Icarus is the bad guy in the end. Also, Icarus flying into the sun, that's so on the nose. Like, come on. Like, you know what I mean?
Flew too close to the sun and then he flies into the sun.
I found it fascinating how they were behind a lot of the Eternals were behind a lot of the stories that got told throughout the years, like Icarus being like flying too close to the sun. That's sort of a story that Sprite told, or there was another one like
I mean, I know they said Athena instead of Athena, and they kind of point out like
all of the gods that came from
is it Greek mythology?
Yeah, interesting how like it's because Greek mythology is not real because it's the Eternals, and Norse is because of Thor and Asgard.
Yeah.
So
they're trying to tell you that Greek mythology never existed.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. But
what was I gonna say? There was another one where like Icarus is like I think it was the Mesopotamia scene at the start.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Do not fear," saying it to like the person that he just saved, and that turns into like stories of angels saying "Fear not" or whatever.
That is a good point. Yeah.
With flames in their eyes or red in their eyes or whatever. And just the influence they've had on history, I found that very fascinating. It's nowhere. It's really not like any. Huh?
I did it again.
Nice. It's not like any Marvel movie that's come out before, and I'm happy that it's not. It's something fresh and new. I appreciated what was going on. Granted, maybe not to the best execution, at least in certain aspects, but I came out having a fun time, even despite how long it was, I guess. So, yeah.
So, my thoughts are pretty similar. I feel like any sort of... Because here's the thing. I think that it wasn't necessarily like my favorite Marvel movie, but I will say it was good, and it was a good new movie for Phase 4 specifically, too.
Yeah.
Especially because after, post-credit and stuff,
Oh.
it does kind of set up for what I think we're going to be seeing a lot throughout not only Phase 4, but maybe the rest of this saga.
We gotta talk about that post-credit scene. Both of them.
Yes. So,
More planes. Hold on.
yeah. I will say, I thought that it was an alright movie. I think that any criticism because of the characters and their differences, I guess, I think that that's stupid. I thought that they did a really good job highlighting different cultures, because the whole point is, like you said, Eternals are kind of being explained as like these points in like culture where you think about Greek history and how they've kind of essentially created these stories. Him being the Bollywood actor at one point, like that's kind of setting up part of that culture and putting a highlight on Bollywood as a whole.
I found a joke about all the posters.
About like this is my great grandpa.
A family of Bollywood actors. It's
just him with a mustache.
Yeah.
I will say some of the humor, like I thought that was funny. I will say some of the humor didn't land with me at times. Like, I think that sometimes, like, maybe it's because I'm so used to like Marvel's kind of formulaic type of comedy, I guess. Like they have a certain style that they typically go for.
I appreciated how it wasn't quippy all too much. Like it had moments. I thought most of the funny moments hit. Like I didn't like all too much when Dina like said something like "Don't kill her."
Yeah.
When Fastos was trying to take out the orb.
Yeah.
Like that took me out a little bit.
Yeah.
But like the moment you just said and like Druig, like on Sprite's
Oh
head.
man, that was the thing too. Like Druig, because it caught me off guard. It was so good.
She had just finished like monologuing like a whole damn soliloquy. Or
It's like, I just can't do this, and I'm so sorry, but Icarus, he's everything to me, and I think that we're gonna go and. Wow, that was beautiful. It just was so.
So we gonna get this plan going, or
It was just like the shock value of him just smacking a child in a Marvel movie. I don't know. I just have a dumb sense of humor that way, but like
smacking a
I
child.
will say some of, at least earlier in the movie, I felt like some of the comedy was a little bit more dry and like it kind of got a little old. I think it picked up towards the end because like we said, once you get into I forget his name and I feel bad, but he's the Bollywood actor guy.
Kingo or Camille Nanjiani?
Yeah, I'll say Kingo.
I know everybody.
I will say, I think Marvel needs to move away from having they kind of have this trope of like the funny, not superhero sidekick. And it's been in like the past every project in Phase 4. Like every single, because think about it, Jimmy Woo was a joke for a while. He was just like the side character that everybody liked.
Yeah.
Kingo had the producer guy.
Yeah, his cameraman.
Yeah, but he always was making like the little jokes, and he's like, haha, I'm the funny mortal guy that's just like doing funny human shit.
Yeah.
And
Shang-Chi had it was sort of between Katie as like
I felt
for
like
the most part, and then Ben Kingsley's character. I forgot Trevor Slattery.
I feel like him, because I would say Katie was a little bit more integral to the story, so it was fine with her. I feel like it was him, the fake Mandarin.
Yeah.
Or I guess the Mandarin, because they said that the Mandarin was a fake name for
the
Shang-Chi's dad.
appropriated.
But it just feels like every project has kind of had that trope now. So when I saw it, I thought it was funny when he made the jokes. But then I would sit back and sit there and be like, I feel like I've seen the same humor in every single movie
He even
and
did,
show.
like the stereotypical like head nod.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was a choice by him or like if someone said for him to do that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That one I didn't know if that was like on purpose or if that was like
you
a.
notice that?
Yeah, I did. because I didn't necessarily find it funny. I didn't know if that was supposed to be like the butt of the joke, because if that was, then I felt like it was like not funny, and I still didn't think it was funny either way. I didn't take it as a joke. I just kind of was like, okay, that's happening.
That's interesting.
If it was a cultural nod, it felt weird to put it on the comedy character.
Yeah.
Because then you would do it after he said some goofy shit. And then it sounds like that's part of the joke. And that's what's that weird about it, I guess.
I like this little heartfelt scene when Kingo left. He was like thanking them for everything.
Yeah.
That was nice. Like a little, not redemption, I guess. I don't really know how to put it, but like a little more depth to him.
Yeah. I don't want to take too long, but essentially I just thought that there were times where I felt like with a mixture of like the drier humor at times, I feel like there were also scenes where maybe it dragged out a little bit too much.
Yeah, it was a long movie, man.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was purpose for it, but for me, it felt like there were times where like, oh, some of this could have been cut, but then there was other stuff where I felt like it needed more focus.
Yeah, flesh it out a little bit.
Yeah, like I think that most of the characters were fairly developed, but I feel like some of the deaths I didn't, like I would say like Ajax, for example, her death didn't really hit me crazy because it was towards the beginning of the movie. They hadn't really developed so much. Yeah. It could still hit as like important, but it didn't hit as like emotionally important.
It just played into the twist of Icarus being the bad guy.
And that was the other thing. I felt like there may have been too many bad guys. And
there was, frankly, just a lot in general to juggle.
Yeah. It was a lot. I thought it was overall a good movie. I thought it was important to this phase.
Yeah.
I just felt like it's probably not one that I'm going to intentionally go back and watch. But I will also say I am entirely against the idea of people not liking this movie. Well, this is going to sound obvious. Entirely against. I think it's stupid that people would dislike this movie because of the characters or how they act, because I think I've touched on it before. Brian Tyree Henry. Big fan of him on Atlanta. His character in the Eternals was the first gay superhero in the MCU. And I feel like it was well done. I feel like he had such a compelling story. He had such a great performance in general. I feel like that scene where he was yelling at, what was it, Icarus in the ship? I believe he was yelling at somebody, and he got really heated, and I thought that was great.
It might have been Druig.
Might have been Druig. Yep, I think you're right. Because then I think Icarus comes in after.
Yeah, to blast the whole creation that he's working on, the Unimind.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that would be stupid just to hate on it for being a gay character.
Yeah.
Similarly, I mean, people just say oh, it takes the leftist woke approach for all the characters, but I feel like just showing a diverse cast plays into this aspect of how the Eternals have had an effect on Earth's culture worldwide.
I mean, if you want to complain so bad, just watch all the Phase 1 movies with all the Chris's and all the Whiteleys and be happy there.
You could just stick with your, Iron Man 1 and Hulk and
I mean,
fucking all the early
10 years ago, when those were the good old days where you could say what you want. You want to go back to that, go back to that. Leave us alone.
When were the good old days when I can make fun of marginalized groups and not get criticism?
Now suddenly I'm racist.
Now suddenly I'm an asshole. What happened? People are soft. This is dumb, and it was a good movie. I think that once you can get your head out of your ass, you'll realize that people existing, they're just showing people
just
that
existing.
exist. These are people that exist. They're not making shit up. This is shit that happens.
So you're telling me two black men can kiss?
And it not be a criminal offense?
And they're not just going to light on fire and spontaneously combust in the moment?
This is something that exists. And I just think that it's so dumb to try and act like it's some weird agenda.
Deaf people can't run fast.
For all you know, you could probably have 3 neighbors that are all within some sort of other group other than yourself, you know,
Yeah.
other than being the straight white male that's angry on Fox News or whatever.
Yeah.
I love how I like to say how I don't like to get political, but I am such an asshole towards like, but I stand by myself. You know, I just think it's dumb to
Intolerant to the intolerant.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was a good movie, and if that's your reason for disliking it, then I think you're a piece of shit, and I hope
There are
that
other things that are valid criticisms, like, but you pick the one thing.
you pick the
that
one thing
shows a
that's
lot
so
about
invalid.
you than it
Yeah.
does about the movie.
You could literally just say like any of the things
was
that I
wrong.
probably said,
Yeah.
and there's probably more things that you could criticize it for.
Yeah.
But if you pick the one thing of like, oh, they tried to do too much for, you know, political correctness, that just makes me think,
Yeah.
all right, you're an asshole.
And you know what's crazy? Fucking, like, Fastos and Makari carried.
Yeah.
Like,
He was nuts.
fucking, yeah. Fastos took down, like, the Superman of that group,
Hmm.
and Makari was slapping him, like, bitch slapping him around, like, and he
Yeah.
couldn't do a thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I loved her scenes.
Hmm.
Yeah. But, yeah. Not the best, but we're showing a lot of praise to it because it deserves it for what it's done.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
But I know that you have a deeper level to your review, and you
Yeah.
briefly mentioned it to me in the car, and as soon as you started talking about it, I immediately was like, yep, we got to save this for the pod.
Yeah. So I actually didn't believe this was something that should be discussed on the pod, but Colin convinced me. He sort of saw something that I saw, or he believed in it,
Yeah.
and I really just thought I was talking out of my ass, but I figured it'd just be a fun thing to write down and stuff.
Mhm.
And I sort of wrote a thesis about how this movie Eternals can be analogous to a commentary on abortion. And I know that sounds crazy. That sounds fucking nuts.
But we have to get into it because this is
Yeah.
You really put your time in and actually like took this seriously, and I think that's important. Briefly mention if you thought that any of what we just said was controversial, you should go ahead and just skip this last part.
Yeah.
I feel like for the most part, the last bit of me just saying that you shouldn't hate on people for being people shouldn't be controversial, but if it was to you for some reason, you're going to hate this last bit.
Yeah.
But I did genuinely
Frankly-
think that you have a good point to make.
Yeah. Frankly, if you were already mad at what we were saying earlier, I
Right,
don't
sorry.
want
Yeah.
I don't want you here.
Yeah, we don't need you.
Yeah.
We're trying to rebrand. When we figured out that we have a 90% male audience, we
Yeah.
realized that we're doing
We
something
have,
wrong.
say with me, bad opinions.
All right. But I'll let you take the lead. Let's hear this.
All right, so I have a whole thing written down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost an essay, bro.
Basically, it's just a little thing, you know.
Yeah.
But so I'm pro-choice, and Colin is too.
Don't speak for me. Like, so next week we won't be. We're done. Like we said, temporary co-host. He is now officially not co-host.
Yeah, he's out.
Stole the bench. Fuck it.
Yeah. I broke into his garage and I took it. But like, anyways, so I'm in support of bodily autonomy. You are too. So that means basically I support a person being able to protect themselves as opposed to the potential of another being that they can lead to or have the option to protect themselves if need be. The Eternals, also obvious spoiler review, they face a conflict in which they don't know if they believe in sacrificing the lives of billions, parentheses, who have accumulated endless experiences, knowledge, and care. It's more than any other species or beings that Ajax has seen before. For the potential lives of trillions who, without guarantee, might accumulate similarly. Hashem, the celestial god figure that they follow, I feel like he's analogous to bodies of government um, who are pro-life, being that both are in favor of the idea of beings getting to exist because they're not actually here yet or not yet, you know? Like, even or especially at the expense of those who are already alive and living and having these experiences. The Eternals, the Eternals see the value of the lives who are already around, and even like it's even explicitly said by Fastos, I believe, that humans aren't even being given a chance or a choice. When Kingo's sort of having this like dispute, like the sacrifice of billions for trillions, like
And they don't get that choice of whether or not.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's sort of what it's. I think I can say with confidence that it wasn't intentionally analogous to abortion per se, but just like
That's the
control.
situation.
Yeah, I sort of see parallels there, and I thought I'd write it down, and yeah.
Mhm. I definitely like your take because, like you said, even if it's not relating to the topic of abortion, obviously, with that being such a hot button issue,
Mhm.
um, just the idea of government control, I could see it being some sort of underlying message with this movie.
Mhm.
It, which then you can tie back to this because, like you said, um, that thought where
Like,
I think that should be in frame, but I'm gonna be
good.
disappointed if
Good.
not.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Hey, bud. Come here.
It's not a fucking dog.
Come here.
Okay, it's definitely in frame.
Oh, they probably got scared of me because I was staring at it all types of crazy. um,
And I'd
but
run away too if I could.
yeah, but I think you made a valid point. I know I'm kind of just talking out of my ass, or I was for a second. So
I mean, I thought I was,
the idea of like, yeah, these people don't have the choice.
Mhm.
Similar to like how a mother may not, and that mother may have the ability to then later,
Mhm.
try again,
Yeah.
or do other things that could make up for the one, lost child.
Mhm.
Which then, in this case, you could argue that they were saying humans are different. Why would we
Yeah.
try to lose this human for the possibility
Yeah.
that it could do something better later? Because
Yeah.
there's a chance that maybe you lose a mother who may be trying to do something else, and that child is
Mhm.
just
She's already
stuck and
all right. So as much as pro-lifers want to care about the child, they neglect the health and care for the mother or person delivering
they only give a
said
fuck
child.
about they only give a fuck about the kids before they're born.
Yeah. Once they're there,
Once they're there, they're like, all right,
yeah.
you're
Then it's
stuck in
just
the
another.
adoption
Then it's just
system.
another cog in the system
Yeah,
to further the population, which is sort of what I meant with Arishem.
yeah.
It's just like all about getting them out there. Whatever the fuck they do, they're just there to get more out. And he cares about his babies
Yeah.
as opposed to the species that have learned to love, learn to grow, and all that. And the Eternals see the value in those people that are already here.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, to get off of the topic, or I don't want to get off of the topic, obviously, if you're not ready to.
No.
Um,
I just thought I'd share.
did want to quickly mention, because I do like your take on it, I do want to quickly mention some stuff that we forgot to talk about. First off, I want to talk about like the implications of, I don't know if they're going to make a joke about it later, but there's a giant Eternal coming out of the ground right now in the
Yeah,
world.
it's just
So, mention it on the news, but like, how does that play into like later, where like now start understanding the origins of the Celestials? I said Return.
yeah.
There's a Celestial coming out of the Earth.
Yeah. Imagine the religious like zealots and like
They're
Earth.
like, oh my God, it's
Yeah.
our Lord.
Oh my God.
There might be some weird undertones like that.
Yeah.
Or they could do something with that.
Like the amount of cults that could like arise from.
And they're already kind of touching on that with this new Spider-Man movie with like the Mysterio truthers and stuff. So it's like it's something that they could definitely touch on.
Yeah.
Um,
And unlike the Mysterio situation where it's just a guy, really,
Mm.
just like making up these things, like it's
feel
so
like-
clearly just an actual thing coming out of the
I
ground.
feel like the Mysterio truther is more going to be like a commentary on like maybe QAnon.
Yeah,
type,
fake.
weird-
Yeah.
where it's just like over a random dude.
Mm-hmm. We
While
could
on the
easily be
other
like
hand-
over analyzing and politicizing.
for sure.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
But I do think that at the same time, the Eternals thing, or the Celestial coming out of the ground, you could actually have a decent commentary on like how religions are formed, and because that still feeds into the whole concept of Eternals, and like we mentioned before with Greek mythology being based off of the Eternals and being there. Another thing that I did want to mention is the post-credit scenes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right,
Couldn't
let's
let
talk
that
about
slide.
let's talk about the first one.
The first one made my panties wet.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh my God, the orgy scene. No.
So that was.
I thought that was a little out of
it
line. If
got-
you want to criticize that, I
It
get
got
that.
rated R at the credits. Okay, so like PG-13 is cut off right when the credits start.
We didn't even
no.
touch on the sex scene. Like,
Oh,
people
was
were
there.
like bitching about that, and I was like,
I will say, because my friend thought he was like, "Oh, it's out of place." I understand it. I think that it helped build like the visual relationship. I do think the media was a little early on.
Yeah.
In the movie.
yeah. I mean, I watched with my dad, so like,
Yeah, that part was awkward.
it was yeah, it was a little
PG-13,
awkward.
So it's even worse. So it's like,
Yeah, there were easily kids younger than me.
it's not even like because a PG-13 sex teen is not gonna be like, oh, this is what
graphic, you know.
This is what it actually is like. It's like no, it's just giving you the visual of like.
It was
okay,
just
they're having sex,
it was
but
just
it's really awkward. They're just sitting on top of each other, and then she's like, "I love you," and then the camera swivels around.
yeah, just.
Like I'm
But
trying,
they're just this.
I'm trying to see some Icarus cheeks, bro. Like get the angles right.
Get Cersei out of here. I'm just.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
No, but the dude who plays Icarus is apparently fun. Like, apparently for his superhero suit, they had to like adjust his costume so that it like helps hide his giant dick.
Oh, cool.
Because they also had to do the same thing. I think there was like a Cinderella movie where he played Prince Charming. They had to do the exact same thing.
Oh,
They had to fix his suit and.
Richard Madden.
Well, that was the thing. I guess
Yeah.
like growing up, his dad's name was also Richard. So
That's
his dad-
hilarious.
His dad was
Dick.
Big Dick, Little Dick, and he's apparently just.
Dick Madden.
Nah, but the sex scene, you know, it was what it was. I think that
Yeah.
maybe it was a little early in the movie, and I think that like maybe positioning it somewhere else could have helped build it after we've already kind of gotten more foundation on each character. Then it helps build the relationship. But maybe that's just like super nitpicky.
I was really more just uncomfortable for
Because this-
obvious reasons because of who I was watching with, not because it's a sex scene in a movie. Like,
Oh,
that's
man.
nothing.
But
But
then
to get back
so
to
the post credit scene.
yeah,
Um,
sorry, just a little side thing.
So we see them on the ship, and we see somebody shows up.
Yeah.
and it's Pip.
Liam from One Direction.
So first it was Pip.
Oh my God, it's Zane.
Great sidekick, I guess. And then it was Eros, aka
Yeah.
Star Fox,
AKA Harry Styles.
aka Thanos, bro.
Yeah. You know what would have been hilarious if they got another member of One Direction to be Pip.
Oh my God. No, literally, if it was like Niall, like one of the ones that like people kind of gave a fuck about, but like not really. Niall, and he's fucking Irish.
Oh
That's
shit,
gotta
that
have some
would.
weird racist undertone. Like Irish people.
What do
and
you
trolls.
mean? Yeah.
Well, he was ginger, and oh man, that's feeding way into
Oh
it.
shit.
I'm only saying this because I'm part Irish.
Oh yeah, he's allowed
It's
to
it's
say.
the equivalent of being like when you're like Logic and you've got like a mixed dad and then
Yeah.
like a white mom. Then
I
you're
can
like,
say
yeah,
that
I can
word.
totally say it. I can.
Yeah.
It's like you're cutting it close, buddy.
Yeah.
I can't speak on that. I just thought I'd make a joke.
I thought the CGI was kind of garbo.
Yeah, it looked a little funny,
It definitely was something that they didn't prioritize.
but we get in and it's
scene and Harry Styles walks in
Yeah, Harry Styles is officially in the MCU, and so is BTS.
in the same universe.
Actually,
That's crazy.
yeah.
But
Actually,
also
well,
DC Comics exist, and
I know. I
they
think we
mention
didn't even
Superman,
mention that.
Superman by name.
They had another reference. It said like Alfred or something.
Yep.
Yeah, if, I'd I'd like
But
to
there's
think
been
that
other mentions, I think, throughout the MCU. There was some other clip where they've mentioned DC in some way. This was just the first time where they like name dropped Superman. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. I mean, they like in the Raimi Spider-Man movies, like Aunt May, I think, had a line about like, "You're not Superman," like
Yeah,
talking to
that's
Peter.
what it was,
Yeah, yeah.
But
And I find it interesting how they have that. Yeah.
I feel like there's a kind of like a cross, at least like in terms of respect, just
Yeah.
over the different brands. Because
It's not Marvel and DC that have beef. It's the fans, the
That-
super
yeah.
fans that because there's been so much crossover between writers and artists.
Stan
Like
Lee's
it's
written
all it's
for DC.
yeah, it's all just one big family to them, but to like stands.
They're all like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Apple versus Samsung, you know, PlayStation versus Xbox.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
DC versus Marvel.
Everything is butting heads when in reality these guys are all just like, hey, we're making money.
I had only seen the clip. I'm not gonna say that I went out and spent money on it, okay? Because I know you're playing.
Uh-oh.
I'd seen the clip on TikTok of the Teen Titans Go movie, and one, they had a Stan Lee appearance, I think, but also I think they had like a joke saying that Deathstroke was Deadpool. They're
That's
just
funny.
like, hey, what's up, Deadpool? And they're like, I'm not Deadpool. What the fuck?
That's funny,
It's
actually.
like, but you kind of look like Deadpool. And they're like, I'm fucking Deathstroke. Yeah, it was something like that. But
Yeah.
there's obviously some crossover. It's just the fan bases that kind of get heated about it, I think.
Yeah. So I like in the MCU, DC Comics exist. And in DC universe, I would like to think that Marvel Comics exist. Yeah.
I feel
But
like in the
that-
DC universe,
does that take
nothing fun
away-
exists.
No, yeah. Every book is just a dictionary.
Yeah. You just have
Yeah.
encyclopedias as
Yeah.
a source.
Yeah.
You have an almanac.
But
If you want to get spicy. The
oh,
almanac.
ooh,
Uh,
toxic daddy Bruno.
Toxic
Read
Daddy
me
Bruno.
reads me an almanac to go to bed every night.
We tied it full circle.
Closure, baby.
He was flirting with Angelina Jolie. So
I don't
sexy
blame
in
him.
that sequel.
Yeah.
And then what was the last thing?
The other
second
scene.
one.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I didn't understand the significance of Dave. Or what was his name?
Dane.
Dane.
It's so
thinking-
insignificant you
yeah.
don't even know his name.
Yeah, that other guy.
Dave Whiteman.
um,
Dane Whitman.
but Dane, I didn't understand because again, I'm very casual, so I don't know the comic
Okay.
book shit.
He has a sort of family, very convoluted, very confusing family history.
Isn't he like part of like the Round Table type shit?
The
like,
Midnight Suns. Like Illuminati?
King of Illuminati?
What? Where are you going at?
For some reason, Kyle told me it was like King Arthur type shit, but
Oh, he does. Yeah, he does have. I thought you were talking about like Marvel. That's like his. Yeah, he does have ties to
Okay.
that. So the sword he was going for was like the ebony blade. There's actually two ebony blades, the
Yes.
real one and then one made by Dracula, a vampire. And he goes to touch it. You hear a voice. I thought it was Jeffrey Wright. I thought it was Uatu. I thought it was the Watcher.
oh,
In the moment, I thought it was the Watcher because, like, what if it just ended? It's off camera, asking if you want to make a decision,
yeah,
and it sounded pretty similar to him. But turns out it's fucking Mahershala Ali.
And it
It's
was
the
Blade.
first. It's the first confirmation of Blade in
Which
universe.
means we're probably gonna be getting it somewhat soon. I know that it is one of the Phase 4 movies, but I have a feeling that is, unless that's just a really long-term tease, I feel like not gonna drop it in like 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Blade and the Black Knight, which is Dave,
Yeah.
Dave's character,
character.
are are both a part of the Midnight Suns, which is sort of a supernatural group
Yeah.
to fight like
Yeah,
the supernatural. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'll be exciting. I didn't really know what to look into for Blade. I know that Blade is very important in terms of superhero movies because
Yeah.
it was like one of those first big ones that like
Yeah, a pioneer of sorts.
yeah. And I haven't really seen it.
Oh yeah, it doesn't get the love that the Spider-Mans or like the early Superman movies do.
Yeah.
But
It's still very important, I
It's
assume.
yeah, it's super fun too. Like I recommend it.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that it was important, but it's something that I haven't seen yet, so it's not something that I really know much about.
Yeah.
So I am excited to see the remake and how that all fits into the MCU.
Yeah. Just
All right, guys. So the actual outro that we recorded got cut off.
Yeah.
So we wanted to record like a shitty 5-second outro.
Thankfully, it was just the very end, unlike last week where it was like 30 minutes worth of talking.
Yeah, like the last thing you heard is pretty close to like the last thing we were talking about. So,
But we just wanted to make a little outro, so you're not just abruptly cut off.
yes,
So thank you for watching.
and stay tuned for more.
Yeah, look out for this. The Benchwarmers to be coming out soon. Right?
Feel sure to like and subscribe
Feel share to like.
yeah, all the corny YouTuber stuff. Go do that.
That's what you get for trying to be like them.
Yeah, I feel like that's like worse than what we've been doing. People called us out for copying, and then I literally copy everybody on the platform. All right, this is Colin. This is Devin. We'll see you next time. All right,
Help me.
you'll never escape.
What?